Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players. And we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I remember, I think it was about 3 years ago, if not 3.5 years ago. I'm in the studio on a Sunday working, and we were doing some NIL interviews. Le'Veon Moss came into the studio, all right, and he brought his Le'Veon Jr. into the studio. And so yesterday, Jordan Shaw comes in, brings his little boy, Elias, into the studio, 2 months old. And it just brought me back to that Le'Veon moment. I even told him the story that I got to hold Le'Veon Jr. years back. And, we're kind of reminiscing about Le'Veon, some of his best moments. And then later in the afternoon, we find out that he's going to retire from football. That one hurt because I expected some big things from him.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder if he's dealing with an injury if he's still having problems with it. I will say this. I think he could be a successful NFL running back. Just his running style and his mental makeup, right? He's not afraid of anything. Yep. That's it. Maybe in a year or less, he'll rethink it. And Jaworski had a kind of not a straight path to the NFL, right?
Right.
So maybe ittle be something like that.
And I wasn't Jaworski out of the league for a little bit?
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
And I believe maybe excuse me, maybe Mike Sherman had some connections with the Bucs or the Dolphins or whoever he ended up with. But anyway, hopefully for our sake, and maybe Le'Veon said his football career isn't over, maybe just interrupted.
Le'Veon, to me, he isn't the biggest what if, but he's a pretty big what if in A&M history, because what if he doesn't get hurt in that South Carolina game a couple years back? How different does that offense look? What if he doesn't re-injure himself last year, right, in that stretch, and he wasn't ready to roll when he came back in the Miami game, right?
Right.
But what if? Like those are, because that 8-4 team a couple years back, I think is better than 8-4 if Le'Veon plays the whole season.
They might have won the South Carolina game.
Yeah, they came back and took the lead for a little bit,
and
right?
might have won the Auburn game.
And the Texas game may have felt different.
I mean, if you needed to control the ball, I can remember which game was it? Arkansas one year, and A&M was backed up like on the one. They just gave the ball to Le'Veon like 10 times in a 12-play drive, and same with Florida.
Yeah.
When you won at Florida, just give the ball to Le'Veon.
Really nice young man, played the game the right way, and disappointed that his career has to take a break. Hopefully it's a break. Hopefully it's not a complete retirement. Hopefully he can get healthy and get another opportunity here in a couple years. But I really enjoyed covering him.
Yeah, some of my favorite conversations. I definitely one of the most memorable phone interviews I ever did was with Le'Veon about this time last year.
Yeah. And speaking of A&M and football and the Texas game a couple times, looks like this year's Texas game is going to be 6:30 p.m. on ABC.
Shocker.
November 27th.
Yeah. They want those games to be, highly viewed, and they will be, but get maximum exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it kind of sucks, but for everybody else,
why does it suck for you, Obi?
Because the brunt of my work, especially, but our work begins when the game is over.
This is true.
So the earlier the game is over, the better it is for
So
me.
you're saying you'd rather an 11 a.m. game against
Oh,
Texas?
I love 11 a.m. games.
Okay.
Probably not against Texas. 2:30 against Texas would be awesome for me, but we'll still be there.
God, beat those fools. Please beat those fools. And Luke Evangelist yesterday with a little bit of breaking news. Texas A&M is going to enter the battle for Atlantis. They are no longer going to be playing in the Players Era Festival. I guess they reduced the number of teams from 32 to 24. A&M's like, all right, we got to find a new home. And they'll be going there to the Bahamas.
Yeah, they've had some success there before.
Yeah.
Seems like one of those teams with Tyler Davis and Hogue, maybe the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they went there and got into the final. Maybe. They won like 3 games there. I think I remember them beating Texas.
Yeah, they did beat Texas. They did.
And maybe beating Syracuse. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're exactly right.
Successful run in the Bahamas.
Obi, we didn't get a chance. I'm trying to look for it right now to really break down your article. Here it is, an early outlook on the Ags based on statistical comparisons. A couple different times you brought up points from that, but I thought we could kind of go through a couple of these just to mentally get our head around what maybe winning a national championship should look like from a statistical standpoint.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like you look at 10 statistical categories that are maybe key to winning games, right? Mm-hmm. And I was looking at what the last 5 national champions did, how they fared in those particular categories. And then I was kind of looking at comparing it to A&M last year with the idea to say, hey, to be at a national championship caliber in these particular statistics, here's where you are. Here's where you need to go.
So in total offense, they're right there.
They're right there.
444 yards, 444 and a half yards. In 21, Georgia had 442. Georgia again 501, 382 from Michigan, Ohio State 429, Indiana 452.
Right. So 3 of the 5 national champions actually had averaged fewer yards than A&M did. So there's an indication that if you're at least as good as you were last year, you are of national championship caliber in that regard.
Offensively, it seems like A&M is trending in the right direction because explosive plays. Georgia 80 in 21, 98 in 22. Michigan was 73. Ohio State 75. Indiana 90. I thought A&M had a bunch of explosive plays compared to themselves, but not compared to that group because they had 69.
But here's the deal: those teams, you have to put it in context. A&M played 13 games.
Yeah.
Those teams played 15 to 16. But the point is, so A&M may be on the cusp of reaching that national championship caliber, or they may be there. I probably should have broke it up and divided by games.
No, but
by plays.
But that's part of the. You want to be a national championship team, that you got to
need to be
extend your
explosive.
Season. Yeah. Total defense. This is when A&M needs to do a little bit of work on. We got Georgia in 21 with 267 yards, Georgia 296, Michigan 247, Ohio State 254, Indiana 266. A&M last year, 307.
Which I think was ranked about 40th in the nation. So it's not bad, or maybe not. Yeah, that may not be the case. It might be better than that. It may be better than that. It's not bad. But it shows that, you got some work to do to be elite. And really a lot of that goes back to another category that's coming up.
Yeah. Well,
and that's the explosive plays and run defense.
And here's another one that these teams had a lot more games played, or 3 more games than A&M. At least Indiana did. Georgia, 41 explosive plays in 21, 51 in 22. Michigan, 32 in 23. Ohio State with 50 in 24. Indiana, 53. Texas A&M. And again, 3 less games, 57.
Yeah, and see, that shows a problem because there are teams that played 16 games, and in 16 games gave up fewer explosive plays than A&M did, and that's one of those where the bell should go off. But I think the next category is run defense, and to be specific, or maybe not, but anyway, to be specific on run defense. Every team that won a national championship was ranked no worse than 6th in the nation in run defense. And I think they all allowed less than 100 rushing yards a game. A&M wasn't bad. I think A&M gave up 130 yards a game, and maybe that's where they were 40th. But that's not bad. But to be national championship caliber, you've got to improve by knocking off about 40 yards a game. Well, how do you do that?
One explosive?
That 75-yard run becomes a 10-yard run.
And that changes the season.
And it changes the season. And it would have. I mean, think about it. What if Mark Fletcher doesn't break off that 70-yard run?
Yeah, A&M has a chance to kick a field goal and win that game as opposed to having to force a touchdown pass.
Yeah, and so I think that was great. A&M's greatest weakness last year was that tendency to give up a big run.
The next one, actually, I think is pretty close to one of the biggest weakness. Field goal percentage. Yeah. Georgia, 81% in 21, 84 in 22. Michigan, 85. Ohio State, kind of lower than I would have expected.
76.5.
Yep. And Indiana, 90.5. Texas A&M?
It was around 65 or something
61.3.
61.3. Yeah, that's just unacceptable. You can't have that, especially when you consider that a lot of those field goals were short. You know, they weren't long. Yeah, like if it's 50 yards, you're kind of rolling the dice. But a lot of them were probably inside 30, 35.
This next one, another one that, like, if you just go back, like, why, guys? Why? But I ask you, why do you go offsides? Penalty yards.
Yeah.
Georgia in 21, 42.5. Georgia, 47.3 and 22. Michigan, 27.5 and 23. Ohio State, 40.8. Indiana, not penalized a lot, 27.6. Texas A&M, 60.7 yards per game.
And the Aggies seemed to get better at that in the second half, not penalized as much, but
which tells you how bad it was.
They were still hovering around 6%. However, in the one game where they were best on penalties was Miami. I think they only had like 15 yards of penalties, and that game still lost. But that goes back to the long run too.
Turnover margin.
Yeah, that's always huge for everybody.
Georgia +4, Georgia +2, Michigan +19, Ohio State +3, Indiana +22, Texas A&M
-9. Yeah. See,
you're not going to win.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes back to two things, and they're both involved in the passing game. Interceptions thrown. I think Marceau had 12.
Yep.
And interceptions not not gained. A&M 3 interceptions all last year. That I didn't put this in there, but every team that won a national championship finished the year with double-digit interception total. A&M had 3. You got to find a way to get more opportunities there.
For time's sake, I'm going to kind of fast forward through a couple of these third down conversions. A&M is not they're not far off. I'll give them that. They're not far off. But third down defense.
They're national championship caliber. They led the nation last
year. Georgia, 35.1. Georgia, 26.6. Michigan, 29.1. Ohio State, 35.1. Indiana, 30.1. Texas A&M, 22.9%.
Yeah, that was the success rate of the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, national championship caliber.
And then red zone conversions. Let's end with this one. Georgia in 21, 85%. Georgia, 97% in 22. Michigan, 89. Ohio State, 88. Indiana, 92. Texas A&M, 81%.
And there's a second part to that, but it was just getting too long, is touchdown percentage in the red zone. I think A&M was around 70%, which isn't bad. But again,
national championship caliber is closer to 80.
Yeah, national championship caliber. So not too far off on some. On others, the others are. You didn't even have to see the numbers. You knew it just by watching them last year. That giving up big plays in the running game, especially, was a problem.
It is a Guayavera Wednesday here on TexAgs Live.
In fact, Irma likes this
idea
of why. So she went out and bought me one.
I was going to say,
she bought this for me this weekend. It was Mother's Day, and I got a gift.
That's a quality wife right there.
It is. Well, high quality.
High quality, as is David Gardner's Jewelers, the presenting sponsor of the show.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. I try sometimes. And this studio, we call it the Rollo Insurance Studio, Opie.
Yeah, Jason, Jackson, Keith, Morgan, everybody else, all their
boys,
mothers, wives, brothers, and all of them.
Yep.
The whole family.
And this hour, we call it the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. And we're hanging out right now in a cool area that we call the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
I feel the air conditioning.
I do feel it.
Cooling my dollar bills.
Well, you're probably going to need more than just an air conditioner for all that cash that you have.
I got pennies, buddy. I got pennies. If you want to be a part of the conversation, please call us up on the Buppies Catering and
Bartending.
Hotline 979-693.
1150.
Or you can text that number, but we changed the name to the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. I'm going to need a catalyst. I need to go work out after the show. Slept a little late, so I think I'm going to need a catalyst to get me going.
Get you going. No coffee for you.
No, I don't drink. I don't like coffee.
Let's go around the room. We go left to right. We go behind the glass. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Well, obviously a bummer with the Le'Veon Moss news, but that had me thinking, like, what was my favorite Le'Veon moment from his career here at A&M? And the one that kept, replaying in my head was that 75-yard touchdown run against Missouri back in 24 that just iced that game. Was it the first play of the or at least first offensive play for A&M?
I think it was the first play of the second half.
Yep. And just busted it right down the middle and put the game on ice.
And the longest run of his football life, not just his college career.
His football life.
Yeah.
What a play. What a great afternoon that was.
Yeah, it was. But when I think about Le'Veon, what comes to mind for me is like a couple of carries against Florida, at Florida.
Yeah.
When he just takes the ball into the middle and everything is stopped. And then all of a sudden he bounces out and he hits people, he's bouncing off them like a pinball.
Yeah.
That's who is such a powerful runner.
Nick, you were going to host today because I was going to have jury duty.
But you're evading the law. You're breaking the law.
So I called
bad company.
You get an email from the jury duty people. We'll just call him Pablo, okay? And it says, call this number after 6 p.m. for your reporting duties. So I called that number, and it says, if you are here to report for May 13th, do not come. Like, it says it like that.
Okay.
And so I called Nick immediately. I was like, I don't think I have to go. He's like, it sure sounds like you don't have to go. I go, but there's a part of me that's like, what's
way to rope me into this. So if you get in trouble, now it's on me too.
Yeah, well,
you and your accomplice can go face the jury.
So, like, I think I'm good, right? Like, if the voicemail says, please don't come, you don't go, right?
What if this was some elaborate way that the defendant was able to hack in, and now he got everybody, and now he's scot-free?
Yeah, so maybe there's AI got me. Like, I don't know. So right now they may be doing roll call. Nuño, jail. Like, that's what's going on right now.
The SWAT team's going to come bust down the studio door here in a little bit.
Well, we do open the door for anyone, so we can just let them in. Anyway, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Kayla Gaither here on a Guayavera Wednesday and also a Softball Wednesday.
Also a Softball Wednesday. You guys, I'm so excited because Trisha Ford's going to come in later and talk some Aggie softball, but I'm going to preview this weekend's regional. A&M is hosting the Bryan-College Station Regional this weekend for the third consecutive year. They're the number 15 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They will be hosting Arizona State, UConn, and McNeese this weekend with Game 1 on Friday at 1 p.m. against UConn. So I'm really excited because this is such a big weekend for A&M softball, and I'm excited that we're hosting. It wasn't, confirmed that we were going to host until the selection show, right. And the season has been kind of up and down, so really proud of the Texas A&M softball team for being able to host this weekend.
Aren't they all conference champions coming to town?
Yes, so Arizona State is the Big 12 champion, UConn's Big East, and McNeese is Southland Conference champions.
It's not supposed to be easy, OB.
It's not supposed to be.
Arizona State beat Texas Tech to win the Big 12 championship.
So Texas Tech, it's the best money you can buy, or the best roster you can buy.
But aren't they all bought now?
Yeah.
They touched up Kennedy, who's the $1 million arm, in the championship game too. So it's going to be a tough test.
Arizona State does not like Texas A&M. I don't know if you know that. Like,
really?
I'm not, I assume. I'm just making it up. But Michael Early has a history with Arizona State. Wasn't Gavin Grahovic supposed to go to Arizona State?
And Trisha Ford used to coach at Arizona State as well with Jeff Harger, the assistant coach. So there's a little bit of history there.
A&M football's about to play Arizona State.
I was there in what year was that? 2016 in Houston when they opened up by beating the number 15 Arizona State Sun Devils pretty bad.
I was there.
Yeah, Myles Garrett
I was there too.
And Deshaun Hall just abused that poor quarterback. Was that? I can't remember his name.
It was an Italian name.
Yeah, Berticelli. Something.
Burkacelli.
Burka something. Mike Burka something.
Huh.
Might be Burkacelli. Mike Burka.
I just like that name. I'd create a character named Burkacelli. If I
Now,
could.
Kyle Allen kind of did some things to talk about Arizona hating A&M. Kyle Allen did some things to keep, who was from, I think, Arizona, to keep Arizona State in the game. But Christian Kirk, who was from Arizona, had a huge game and two huge plays in that game to win it.
Dog. He was a dog. Anything else, Kayla, before we hit a break?
We had a comment on the YouTube page from James Ellis that I'm going to read about Le'Veon Moss. He said, if Moss wouldn't have gotten injured a couple years ago, we beat TU, and if he was healthy last year, we would have been undefeated and maybe playing for the championship. So what are y'all's thoughts?
So I don't know if we beat TU or not, but I do know that one of those fourth downs, you convert. And if the game feels different.
Yeah, you go back to the Notre Dame game this year.
Mm-hmm.
We all know A&M has had some trouble scoring from close range, right? Just get the ball to Le'Veon 3 times. He scores three touchdowns just in the second quarter against Notre Dame. Yeah, he was such a powerful runner and mean and stubborn. I just thought he was just the perfect mentality for what the NFL does. Except hopefully this is just an interruption and not an end to his career.
I hope so. Let's mythically or in a fantasy world take him to go eat. OB, you get to choose the restaurant. You get to choose the menu.
Yeah.
You get to choose what everybody eats. It's going to be like a community eating, right?
Okay.
Y'all can take Mike Bercovici
Bercovici.
Michael Bercovici.
1775.
That's who it was. Bercovici.
Le'Veon Moss. Sorry.
So I'm taking Le'Veon Moss for his.
I would like you to take him to eat somewhere. I don't know where you're going to pick. I mean, there's going to be thousands of
it's going to be lunch.
Okay.
It's,
Thursday through a Saturday.
Thursday through Saturday. Yeah. It's going to be at 1775.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Le'Veon Moss deserves to have that succulent brisket.
Moss.
Yeah. And he deserves to have those amazing pork ribs.
Mas puerco.
He earned that jalapeno cheese sausage. And most of all, I mean, I'm sure he probably likes turkey too.
Yeah.
I guarantee he likes the pulled pork.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Even Richard does. But you know what? For all that he had accomplished, for all that he meant, I would have to order for Le'Veon some of that queso mac and cheese.
It's Brad reminded me, Lev is Le'Veon. I always say Le'Veon, but it's Le'Veon. I used to make that mistake. But he, not only could he run through a defensive line, he can run through all the brisket you put on the plate.
Yeah,
I didn't set you up well.
I know. I'm trying to. It's Le'Veon Moss. I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest.
Yeah.
Taking him to have lunch at
one of the
greatest places.
Yeah. The greatest.
Maybe even the greatest.
Yeah. Check out the website, 1775txbbq.com, or call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
And like Le'Veon Moss, it's great.
Que rico. Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. And as a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Look like you had a thought.
No.
No? You just...
I was looking at your cup of coffee there and just thinking about, my first thought was maybe because it comes from Colombia and all these different Latin American countries are so rife with coffee, maybe that's why it's so popular among Latinos. But then I got to thinking, well, wait a minute. I know all the, Anglos up in everywhere. They like coffee too. So, but it's like.
It's an acquired taste.
I never acquired it. I wish I did because it seems like it really wakes you up.
It works.
Yeah. But
it's part of my daily routine. I am not addicted to a lot of things. I don't think I am. I'm addicted to a morning cup of coffee or 10.
My wife will drink, if she's not careful, she'll drink 7 or 8 cups of coffee a day.
I do.
Yeah.
Now, I do half calf at home.
Yeah, she never does that.
I do half calf at home, and then I have 1 cup here.
And is it always black?
Always black.
Always. Yeah, that's how my wife drinks it.
Yeah, black. Hey, Greg Sankey, your good buddy, right?
Greg Sankey.
He spoke to some reporters at the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, the APSE, at the regional meetings, and was asked why the SEC refuses to play regular season games on days other than Saturday. His answer was, for everybody who thinks we're just a money grab, we could grab money and just put games on different nights of the week.
Wait. They refuse to play.
Like they don't play on Friday nights.
Oh, okay. But good. I applaud that. Never do it. You know why?
Why?
Because Friday nights for high schools. Friday nights for high school football. Now, I'm sure I wonder if they ever play them on Friday nights once high school's over with. But I guess I
don't think the SEC does. No, yeah.
I applaud that. Don't play on Friday nights. I've seen them play on Monday nights. I've seen them play, I think, on Sundays.
Have we seen Thursday?
Well, I know the Aggies, have played on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
before,
but I'm just saying, like, in the last, I'm trying to think, a Thursday game in the SEC?
Yes, I'll tell you, yes,
Didn't
absolutely.
Auburn play Baylor on a Thursday?
Texas A&M played the first SEC Thursday night game in 2014 when they beat the absolute dog snot out of South Carolina.
Yep.
Heck yeah, they did.
And I think just last year, though, I think it was a Thursday game where Baylor and Auburn played. I might be wrong on that. Nick, fact check me if you don't mind. So yes, they do play Thursdays. They just don't play Fridays.
I think that was a Friday night game.
What the heck is Sankey talking about then?
Let me check that before I go any further.
But yes, they have played on Thursday. And I know they played on Monday, but of course it was a holiday.
This is going to be a
because I covered a UCLA Tennessee game.
We're going to get a phone call on this one.
But I'll say this: I don't like college.
Yeah, Baylor Auburn was Friday.
So maybe he's talking about conference games on a Friday. It must be what he's assuming too, or that's what he was asked.
But early in the season, whatever. But I just don't think you should play. I think Friday is for high school football.
Yeah. But it's become very popular to put a couple of games on Friday night.
Right. Look, and I tell you what, the one that used to play on Friday night a lot that doesn't exist anymore was the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great because
didn't Boise State play on Friday nights?
Probably, but again, if they're on their games are probably starting a little bit later.
Yeah.
So they may not be conflicting with the high schools.
Not the high schools here, just where they're at.
Yeah, but they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
That's what the West Coast. They don't pay too much attention to high school football.
I don't mind a Friday night game that starts at like 9:30. Right?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I don't for me, like I like coming back when I used to cover a lot of high school games. I covered a lot of high school games in my career. I enjoyed coming back home and then putting a game on. I would not want my games to be at 7:30 as the high school games are going on because I do think it's like I wish there was a little bit more of a handshake agreement between high school, college, and the NFL of like, hey, these are your days. We're going to keep them to your days. But the NFL says, nah, they're all my days. I want it all.
Well, the NFL will play on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. They don't play on Friday.
They'll play on Sunday, obviously, and they'll play on Monday. What I think is great is during football seasons, really Wednesday is the only day that there's no football.
Yeah.
You know, because I like the MAC and teams of that ilk, conferences of that ilk that play on Tuesday. And I think that's genius for them, by the way.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I do. All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with more. Nick's got some a game for us to play.
Oh, okay, Nick.
Very hard game. It's going to be very hard. He'll explain the rules on the other side. We're talking about Daily Company in Texas. Your HVAC system isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. And when you need service, it matters who you call. So you should call the Daily Company. They're a locally owned and operated company, and they take real pride in serving the community. They have an HVAC department that provides comprehensive service, including repair, maintenance, and full system installation. So if your AC stops working in the middle of the summer or your heater needs attention before a cold streak, their licensed technicians are ready to help you. And they offer HVAC emergency repair because they know that breakdowns never happen at a convenient time. Their team works with all the major brands, including Lennox, Trane, Goodman, Rheem, Honeywell, Daikin, and Amana. So no matter what system you have, we can take care of it. At Daily Company, they stand behind the work and they treat every home like it's their own. Contact the Daily Company at 979-2060-2020. That's 979-260-2020. Stay comfortable year-round with a local team that you can trust. Visit them online at godaily.com and experience the daily difference.
At Brazos Valley Floor and Design, the Morrow family has helped Bryan-College Station homeowners remodel with confidence for over 25 years, backed by the Adore Your Floor guarantee.
When you're ready to update a kitchen, refresh a living room, or renovate the whole house, come see the latest in flooring, from designer carpet to laminate, luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, and tile.
We're 2 generations, hands-on from design to installation.
Brazos Valley Floor and Design, best floor and design since 1999.
And that's a promise.
I'm Wes Mingan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
Welcome back in, everybody. We call it TexAgs Live. This is the world-famous TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. He's Olin Buchanan.
He's David Nuño.
Thank you. We are a team. We do this show together. Anyway, Nick's got a game for us to play.
All right.
I don't know if game is the right way to phrase it. It's like a social media trend / game. Nick, tell us more.
Yeah, so it's just a tier list of 5 college football games that I picked, and we kind of talked about it at the break. You probably could rank all these games in the A tier, just 4 tiers, by the way, A, B, C, D. Multiple games can go in one tier, but yeah, people do this on social media for like music, fast food. I know you go to those meetings, David.
Fast food meetings? I haven't been in maybe 30 years.
Yeah, but let's kick it off.
When's the last time you went to James Coney Island?
Oh, man. I've been, but I was definitely in like middle school.
You?
Maybe never.
Long John Silver's. I'm playing the tier game.
I've never
Long
been to
John Silver's, I'd have to be like, I'd probably.
1986, it was a great place to go.
I was probably in the 70s.
Okay. Pizza Hut. Actually gone to a Pizza Hut.
Oh, okay. That would have been probably in the
Early 2000s?
in Longview, where I was, and that would have probably been in the mid to late 80s, no, mid 80s.
Can we play the tiers game with fast food places?
Sure, yeah.
I just hijacked your segment. Go ahead, Nick.
Sorry. All right, kick it off with week 2. This came out recently that this was going to be a...
Pause. I don't understand this game. Like, are we ranking or are we tiering? I don't understand.
Tiering.
We're tiering.
But it's the same thing as ranking.
Do you want me to give you...
No, he's not. I get it. What he's saying is like if I went to you and I said, okay, Cuban food.
Tier 1.
Cajun food.
Tier 1.
Tex-Mex.
Can be tier 1.
Hot dogs.
Tier F.
See?
That F means multiple things.
So you had 2 in the tier 1.
Yeah. Last time I had a hot dog?
Steak.
You gave one a number tier and you gave the other a letter tier.
Steak.
Tier 1.
1775.
Tier 1.
That would be S tier. The best you can go is S tier.
This is a fact. The last time I had a hot dog?
Yeah.
1984.
I've had one before that or since that. I've had one maybe this month because I'm at Costco and I'm hungry and I can get one for $1.50.
Costco, underrated. Tier 1 dining experience. That pizza like rocks or whatever you kids say. Slaps. All right, sorry.
This is going to suck now, David, so thanks. All right, here's the first game. Week 2 recently came out. It was going to be College Game Day second destination, Ohio State at Texas. A, B, C, or D tier game for y'all.
That's an A tier.
Oh, it's an A tier.
I feel like they're all A tiers, but after we tier them, we rank them.
Yeah, we can do that. I like that. Game 2. This might be S tier. Lane Kiffin's return to Oxford. That's in week 3. LSU at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
because of the last
because
week.
Because the coaches and everything. Yeah, golly.
And what happened? Tier A or 1.
Why is everybody dumping on Ole Miss? I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but Sarkisian's dumping on them.
I saw a former player from Ole Miss dumping on Ole Miss. Like on a podcast yesterday, like he was on with an LSU guy. He's like, yeah, man, I saw some stuff in Oxford. I was like, whoa.
Okay, all right. Well, but still, because it's Lane Kiffin's return. It's kind of like the Schlossnagle coming back to A&M.
I was about to say, I think A&M set the example of how you welcome back disgruntled
coach. Do you think they hate him as much?
Think about how he had the mustard and everything thrown at him at Tennessee.
Yeah.
That might be worse. They might throw mustard and ketchup.
He must be the most hated coach leaving a program.
Yeah, because he has absolutely no one has loyalty, but he has no scruples.
Hey,
no scruples.
I don't know how.
Scruples.
When I left a certain TV station, you didn't hear me talk bad about it, and there was nothing to talk bad about. When you've left certain places, you may have some personal opinions about places. You don't air it out. I think that's the classless part about Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I might have. I don't think I have any issues with any place I ever worked per se. I had some issues with some individuals at places I worked.
Yeah,
and they had issues with me.
All right, so tier game. I forgot. Let's go.
We're still going. Week 13, Texas at Texas A&M.
Tier S.
Tier S or A
That's
or
the
1.
S tier. Sure, we can add the S tier.
Anything that has A&M
We might
involved.
have 2 11-0 teams battling to play each other again in the SEC championship. Sorry.
Love it. Week 7, Ohio State at Indiana.
Tier 1. They're all tier A's.
There is no tier 1.
I made it a tier 1.
It has to.
I go to the meetings.
It has to be a top tier. Now it may not be. What if Indiana can't reload or whatever. Even though I think they will. But yeah, it's if when that game is played 1-7-0 and it's 3-4 or whatever, it's obviously not. But going into the season, absolutely, that's upper tier.
All right, one more.
Week 10, Miami at Notre Dame.
Tier A, because Notre Dame thought they should have been in the playoffs. Miami got in.
Well, because they beat Notre Dame, so they deserve.
But
to
they
be.
weren't in the rankings before.
Yeah, I know, but because that was committee.
We should have done
tomfoolery.
blind rankings, but we've tried to do blind rankings on the show before, and it was a disaster just
blind
like
rankings.
this one.
Tier 1, Louis Braille, because he made a whole alphabet. Tier 1, Helen Keller.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, Tier 2, Tier 1,
Stevie.
And Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder.
What about Daredevil, Matthew Murdoch, Tier 1?
No, that's
No,
come
Tier
on.
1. You can fight people blind?
That for the costume, if nothing else.
But he fights blind, and he wins. But, I mean, just ask Mr. Fisk. All right, sorry.
Carlton?
No.
So those are our blind rankings.
Is there any other blind guys we could talk about?
Ronnie Millsap. Jose Feliciano.
That's right. Jose Feliciano.
There's got to be others that I'm just not thinking about that are celebrities or well known. Maybe there's got to be a bad one.
Is that what you meant by blind rankings, Nick?
Yes.
Off the rails, like a Friday. Nick, I'm sorry. I liked your segment. I think what I liked about it was the ability to go left and right.
Maybe I should just ask y'all before and say, would this be better rankings or
I love it. It turned out great.
All right, people. Do you like the way we did the tier 1?
Is our show
ranking?
tier 1, tier 2?
Compared to other A&M shows?
That segment, was that a what? Please send something to the San Antonio girl over here.
Kayla Gaither.
And text her and let us know how you would put us. Was that segment tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, or A, B, C, D, whichever?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Can we just rank these real quick, though?
Yeah.
The best game from this list, so Miami at Notre Dame, Ohio State at Indiana, Texas at A&M, LSU at Ole Miss, Ohio State at Texas. Look, I hope the Texas and Texas A&M game is the highest ranked one. I don't know if I'd put it at number 1 right now today. I think Ohio State at Texas.
I'd agree.
I think the order that you have
going
it in,
into the game,
right? Like the
going
order
into the season.
The order he has it in, Ohio State at Texas is the first one. Would you agree that LSU at Ole Miss is 2?
No, I'd probably have that. Maybe the 5th one.
Okay. Texas at A&M at 3. I like Texas at A&M at 3.
To me, that's number 2.
Ohio State at Indiana.
That's probably 3.
And I think for me, of all the games, Miami at Notre Dame is the last one.
Huh. I think Miami and Notre Dame is more likely to have national playoff and maybe championship implications than LSU and Ole Miss.
Nick, would you like to give us your rankings, or are you so checked out of this segment? And
I'm embarrassed, but I'll give you my rankings anyway. Yeah, I just said LSU.
He's embarrassed.
Ole Miss
We're going to leave him in tears.
It's my first rank. My first ranked game. I would go Texas at Texas A&M 2nd. 3rd would be Ohio State at Indiana. 4th, Ohio State at Texas. And then Miami at Notre Dame, I'd put in that 5 spot.
I said this is a tier A segment.
Gaitherd, anybody else?
Well, someone said segment tier S. Where else can you get this kind of humor at 8 in the morning?
That's a good point. Good point. Hey, when we come back, you wrote a tier S column.
Oh, well, thank you.
We'll talk about that on the other side. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out Caldwell Country Chevrolet. You owe it to yourself to check out the selection that they have there. They're stocked up and ready to deal on everything on the lot. They have a locally owned team with a bunch of Aggie alumni ready to take care of customers. And remember, every vehicle purchase comes with that free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Stop selling for big city prices and high-pressure tactics. Come see the difference a hometown dealer makes. About a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. We are back here on TexAgs Live. He's Olin, I'm David. And OB, I loved what you wrote about Quinn. Graduation admiration from a damn proud LSU dad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's probably the first and only pros to ever appear on TexAgs that celebrated LSU in a way. But it was kind of chronicled, and people that watched the show know, my son's gone to LSU. I wanted him to go to A&M. He had his own mind. I was disappointed. And yet 4 years later, I have to look back and say, hey, it was a perfect choice for him. And we're incredibly proud of him. He's the first Buchanan to ever go to college and graduate in my line. I mean, there's other Buchanans, but in my line, my mom didn't go, my dad didn't go, my grandfather didn't go, that. So, I so incredibly proud of him. But I'm also had to look back in the column I'm doing this, and his decision to go to A&M resulted in a lot of sports banter back and forth, and with him, and then with some of his frat guys, and so it's just kind of a memoir for me of 4 tremendous years for him and for me too.
Am I right? In his 4 years at LSU, A&M football won 3 out of the 4?
Yep, 3. And they had him.
Can he go get his master's?
That's I was saying, hey, I told him that. Hey, the Aggies are 3-1 against you in school. There's a lot of Aggies that probably pay for you to do your master's there.
I don't know this for a fact. Obviously, I know when A&M and LSU are playing, you guys talk a little. He talks a little trash to you, but I think in the back of his mind, he does root for A&M if they're not playing LSU.
He does, and he loves A&M basketball because he was a ball boy. And but I always tell him, he came home. He came home his first semester And he said, hey, I made the dean's list.
Wow.
And we're all proud. And I said, of course, the dean's list at LSU equates to academic probation at A&M. His mom didn't like that. Didn't like that at all.
Well, I'm proud of him, too. I've seen him grow up. Not grow up, but he was a young high school kid when I met him, and now he's like an adult.
Yeah, and I won't be on the show the rest of the week because early tomorrow morning, we're heading to Baton Rouge.
Enjoy your trip. Congratulations. Congratulations to Quinn. A great young man. All right, Toby. Thank you, buddy. Safe travels. When we come back on TexAgs Live, John Harris joins us on the program. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Should have John Harris on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline here momentarily. I think the folks at Bryan Broadcasting are giving him a shout as we speak. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and chit-chat with Kayla Gaither. Kayla, what do you have for us?
Well, I saw a tweet from Ross Dellinger yesterday, and it talked about the ACC supporting the 24-team playoff field. I don't know if you saw it, but he said, in a joint meeting today at ACC spring meetings, athletic directors and head football coaches discussed at length the future of the college football playoff, swinging support behind a 24-team field. There is consensus, said one, and the room isn't split, said another. So we're seeing a lot more support for an extended playoff for 24 teams.
Well, let's talk through it.
Not surprising that the ACC wants it.
Right.
How about this? The ACC and the Big 12 are like, I love the idea. Let's expand. And the SEC, and I know the Big 10, I think the Big 10 is doing it to be different than the SEC. Like, we're the big dogs now. That's kind of how I internalize it. Because, and also, their conference isn't as deep.
Yeah.
Look, they've won the last 3 straight championships. They've had the best team in football the last 3 years. And I think it didn't matter, even though I thought Indiana's path to the championship wasn't the hardest schedule in the Big 10, they mopped the floor with everybody they played. They are deserving champions. They were fantastic. Ohio State turned it on when they had to, absolutely, a couple years ago. I say all that, but like the SEC is like, dude, we go back to 14 playoff and we'll have half the field. We'll be fine. So let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. John Harris joining us. Johnny, no jury duty today. They canceled it for me, so I'm here, buddy.
Oh, man. Well, it's awesome to talk to you, but, man, I would have liked to have seen you on jury duty. It may have been the new show on Amazon. They're coming out with a season 3 of jury duty, so maybe that could have been you, but alas, you're back in. So it's good to talk to you, David. How you doing?
Good, man. We were just talking about the ACC showing support for a 2014 playoff, and we were all like just kind of laughing about it. Of course the ACC wants a 2014 playoff. That's how they get a couple teams into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of any conference, I would think the ACC and Big 12 are like 24, 24, 24. So, I mean, I would imagine those two conferences are screaming it from the rooftops to get a second team from their conference in. I'm trying to remember the last couple of years when they got to 12. I know the ACC had 2 in 24 because they had SMU and they had Clemson because they met in the national champion or the ACC championship game, and Clemson upset SMU on a last-second field goal. Last year, I believe it was, their champion didn't even make it last year, but Miami did. So they've had 2 teams, then one. The Big 12 had 1 last year and got booted early because Texas Tech got hammered by Oregon, and I can't remember the year before. So, yeah, of course, those 2 conferences are screaming, get us to 24. They want multiple teams in there to have a shot, I guess, if you want to call it that. But, yeah, they'll have a shot. They'll get a couple of teams in there. But, yeah, of course they're making the loudest noise. It figures.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, let's talk Le'Veon Moss. Unfortunately, he is retiring. The news came out yesterday. Who knows what the future holds for him? Maybe he tries to come back here in a year or so once he gets completely healthy. But just some thoughts on what Le'Veon could have been, both at A&M and in the NFL, and maybe what could still happen.
Yeah, look, I never rule anything out. I've seen guys, go through this process before. We had one. Gosh, I can't remember. Probably 5, 6, 7 years ago now. It was a wide receiver, I think, from North Carolina. And he didn't get drafted. He went through rookie minicamp. I think Bill O'Brien was still a coach. And look, Bill's an acquired taste, kind of like beer. And so he went through the whole weekend and he didn't get drafted. He's trying to prove himself as an undrafted free agent. A lot of people were talking about him. Houston, they were all excited because he's a receiver from a school they recognize. And he retired. And everybody was kind of like, what's he doing? Oh, okay. Look, none of us can understand really what players have gone through, especially ones that have been hurt, like Le'Veon has been hurt. And what ends up happening is if you're not fully 100% and now you don't get drafted, so that's a blow to, ego and everything else. I was supposed to be this and, I was supposed to be that. And, sometimes you need to step away from it to realize, yeah, okay, I got to fight through this. Maybe I just need some time. Maybe I signed in the wrong place. There's a lot of things that can go into it. We think about all the decisions that all of us make on a daily basis, and, changing jobs, moving cities, all those kind of things. Look, this is a, 21, 22-year-old young man doing that. And yeah, of course, maybe, homesick, maybe, continuing the rehab is not something that, he wants to be able to do, or he got in the building and just went, you know what, I've got to continue to rehab and I just don't like my situation here. Maybe he was talked into it by his agent. Maybe it was the only situation he had and he just felt that he had to. So who knows what goes all into it, but I think it's a shame that at this point in his career with the injuries he's had, that he felt compelled to do this. So I don't know, maybe it's, by quote unquote retiring, maybe that makes a team go, yeah, we'll release him, or, we're not going to hold him, accountable for anything, or, hey, keep the signing bonus or what. I don't know. But I'm saying something that I think people understand, but I don't think they truly understand. This is a damn rough, violent game we play. And it is hard. It's hard to play it in high school, especially in Texas. It is hard, even harder to play it in college, no matter where you play it. And it becomes that much more difficult when only 1% of players from high school actually make it to the highest level. And again, this is one of those situations where, and I see it all the time, I've seen guys that were All-Americans. They earned All-American status, and they are number 48, 49, or 50 on a roster. So sometimes they're on it. Sometimes they're a practice squad. Sometimes they're cut. Sometimes they're waived. Sometimes they're picked up. Sometimes they have to go home. I go back to James Harrison. James Harrison is one of the scariest defensive players we've ever seen in the NFL. He was cut 4 times by the Steelers and once by the Browns before a fight before the game with the Browns and the Steelers, got Joey Porter Sr. ejected, and Harrison went in, had a great ball game, and they all looked at each other and said, yeah, I don't think we should cut him anymore. But it took him years. And so when you're a young player and you're a young person, I mean, think about being 21, 22, 23, David. I mean, were you fast break Dave at that point? I mean, you thought you had the world by the balls, but we all don't. And so we all expect certain things, especially when you've been the number 1 running back on one of the top teams in the top conferences in the SEC. So who knows what went into his decision, but I think it's his decision. And one day he'll explain it, maybe not. Maybe one day he'll go back to the game. Maybe he'll feel like his football career isn't over, but the on-field is. Maybe he'll go coach. I mean, that's what some guys do. Maybe that's not in him. Maybe it's something else. Who knows? But I'm not totally surprised, especially because of the injuries he's had in his career. And I remember Andrew Luck. I'll never forget it. We were playing a preseason game in Dallas. I just finished up interviewing DeAndre Hopkins. And as soon as I got the last thank you out of my mouth to DeAndre, Mark said, we've got breaking news. Andrew Luck is walking away from the game. And I remember Luck finally saying, you know what? I was tired of rehabbing. I was tired of going through that process. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he had gotten the hell beat out of him because his GM, Ryan Grigson, didn't put a roster around him to protect him for the first 5-6 years of his career. And he was always hurt the last 3 or 4 years. And he said, I'm done with it. That was Andrew Luck. So it's understandable when you deal with the pain that goes with the injuries and then the rehab on top of it. you don't feel like you're playing football anymore. You feel like you're just in one clinic after another, getting an update. And who knows at that point if you ever be right again or feel right as a running back in particular because of all the injuries.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, what do you think about all this Ole Miss stuff with Lane Kiffin talking about, the diversity the lack of diversity, I should say, in Oxford, and then Sark coming after Ole Miss as well? It's just been a lot of they've been taking a lot of strays recently.
Yeah, people need to shut their mouths, if I'm being honest. I mean, from that perspective. I mean, I don't want to shut my mouth because then your radio show stops for the next 10 minutes. But you get my point. Coaches need to speak on their own situation. Has Steve Sarkisian ever coached at Ole Miss? No. Shut your mouth. John Summerall made kind of a funny comment, and I can kind of see that, a little tongue-in-cheek thing. But I follow a couple people in the Ole Miss world, and one of them is a TV host and radio announcer there, and he retweeted something, and it's one of those, this, and he quote tweeted somebody or quote posted or whatever you call it now. And I do think this is something that happens in college football. I think it's very difficult for the blue bloods of college football to look at what's going on now in college football and go, well, they bought their roster. There's that kind of thing. But what this poster had said was, when Ole Miss was winning 5 and 6 games, Oxford was this quaint little place where William Faulkner did his writing. And, the downtown of Oxford's beautiful and the Grove is great. But then all of a sudden, Ole Miss becomes a 10, 11, 12-win team and is in the college football playoff year after year. They're in contention year after year. All of a sudden, all that other stuff gets drummed up about Ole Miss. And it's like, wait a second. It's still Oxford. It's still a beautiful campus. My niece went there, absolutely loved it. I got people in our building. We've got probably 2 or 3 Ole Miss alums in our building. One of them is a really good friend of mine. And, I've never heard him mention any of that other stuff, I'll call it. Look, Ole Miss is a great university, just like everybody else. But what happens in college football, we see it all the time, David. See it all the time. And it happens even with Texas A&M, too. Oh, they bought their roster. Because, for a long time, A&M was a really good program. But I don't know that they got to the heights that they're in the Elko years. And so now everybody's like, well, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be an excuse why A&M has now infiltrated our building. And that is just total and absolute, well, I was about to say a bad word if I'm being honest. So that's just something that I have a hard time with. Indiana gets caught on the carpet because, they bought their roster. And then you look and it's like, well, no, they did go out and get some guys and they did pay some money. But in all honesty, they didn't pay as much as others did. They did go get some players. That's the world of college football. And they turned that into a national championship team. Dabo Swinney talking about, these other schools have, paid for this and paid for that. Clemson was 8th or 9th in NIL money. Like, please stop. But what happens when a non-quote-unquote blue blood infiltrates the top 10? Oh, they must be doing something. They must be cheating. They must be cheating. Because we have seen over the years, we have seen teams that have cheated. SMU in the 80s. Oh, that was blatant cheating. Well, if it was SMU, then it's probably A&M. And it's probably another school from Texas as well. So it bothers me in a sense because there's so much that goes into building a program. And Lane also should shut his mouth about Ole Miss. He's got to stop going back at Ole Miss about anything. You're now the head coach at LSU. Be the head coach at LSU and not the former Ole Miss coach. Be the LSU coach. Stop talking about your ex. It's the worst. Now, I'm speaking a little bit from personal experience because I can't get my daughter to stop talking about her ex. And it's driving her crazy, driving me crazy. So from that standpoint, stop talking about your ex. Move the F on to your team and keep your eyes on your team. And Sark, guess what, pal? all the talking about basket weaving and whatever else is going on, just worry about your Longhorns, pal. You got one of the most talented teams in America, and you went to the Cheez-It Bowl last year. So calm down. Worry about your damn team. Sorry, I get hot about this, David. I'm sorry.
Johnny, I want to talk about two coaches that are, I think, going in two different directions. And one I want to ask if it's sustainable, and the other is, can he get it back? You've got Kirk Cignetti, who, I mean, did the most remarkable college football season, I think, that we've seen, right? Taking Indiana to a national championship. You got Dabo Swinney, who seems like on this Jimbo kind of spiral of not evolving with the game where it is today, and the results aren't what they were. So can Dabo get it back, and is it sustainable for Kirk Cignetti?
I think it's sustainable for Cignetti at like a 9, 10, 11 win pace per year. I think he had a special group last year. I do think what it did was it opened up, and this will be interesting, I think it opened eyes to players and, transfer portal like people across the country. Like Nick Marsh from Michigan State is one of the more underrated big receivers in college football. Well, he ends up going to Indiana. So in going to Indiana, at that particular point, he's thinking, hey, national championships. I just cruise while I'm on Indiana. It'll raise my draft stock. I'll make some money, all that kind of stuff. But what ends up happening, like we saw at Miami all those years, there were classes that came after Ed Reed and Vince Wilfork, and they just felt like they were guaranteed success. And it's like, no. We built this thing up. Now you got to keep it up there. I think Cignetti's the type of coach that will continue to demand his players play at that high level and have that kind of culture. And if he doesn't like it, he's going to change the culture with guys that are a little bit more like the guys that were on his team. Now, Dabo, I've been talking about for a while. I think Dabo has done his program a complete disservice. And I'm not talking about that, he's got to go out and get 10, 12 transfers a year. But the fact that he doesn't get any of them, none of them, shows a complete and total disregard for what the game is now. I go back to, this is a long time ago, David, but Rick Pitino back in 1987, he coached at Providence. It was Providence Friars. I mean, they didn't really do anything. But it was that year that they incorporated a three-point shot. And he had Billy Donovan, he had a guy named Pop Lewis, and he had another guard, and he unleashed them. He said, you guys shoot threes all day long. All day. He went to Kentucky. We're shooting threes. And it was such kind of a novel concept that there were a lot of coaches saying, no, we don't shoot threes. We run our offense. Denny Crum at Louisville was a perfect example. Denny Crum won a national championship in '86, the last year without the three-point shot, and never made it back. He never adjusted what he did to the new game. I feel like Dabo Swinney's doing the same thing. He's not adapting to the new game. I'm not saying you got to go get a whole roster of transfers. Texas Tech did that, and it worked. They got the right mix of guys. But Dabo's saying just completely, no, we're not doing that. We're not adapting. You're just building your own grave, because then you're going to stand up there and talk about Notre Dame's money machine or whatever. All the while, you've got the 8th or 9th top NIL money you're giving out to the team. So I don't feel like Dabo is going to get it back, whether he's at Clemson or some other place under this environment.
That is Johnny Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, have a great weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Hope you're going to jury duty tomorrow.
Later, buddy. My guy, John Harris, on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. A little open segment. Find out what's popping on TexAgs today. Right now, let's talk Rollo Insurance. They build lasting relationships through education. They build lasting relationships through just relationship building, right? They get to know you in your unique situation. They help you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. They have expertise in just about everything from home to auto to business to specialty coverage. Their independent agents do provide options tailored to your specific need. They take time to explain that policy to you in plain language, ensuring that you're never left wondering about your coverage. This educational approach empowers you to make informed decisions about protecting your family, your home, and your business. Many clients discover better protection at competitive rates simply because they finally understand their options. Experience the difference at any of their 60-plus offices. Visit the website, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan-College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs. And remember,
Howdy, Ags. This is Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed, and you're listening to TexAgs Live on the Zone, 11:50 a.m. and 93.7 FM.
All right, so I went upstairs to the break room. We're gonna still do on TexAgs today, but I went to the break room, and they're talking about how Spotify has, they're like, you know how they do Wrapped for the year? Your all-time list.
Oh.
Okay? And I'll probably have to ask Nick about his all-time list. But, so I just, during the break, was like investigating what they would say. I knew the answers. Like, they're not going to surprise me. I know what I have. But I feel like my Spotify all-time list, and Nick, if you're listening, I'm curious what you would think. It's not completely accurate because we had a shared account, I think, which is illegal. My wife and I and my kids, we all shared an account, and like it would bump us off and certain people would be on.
Yeah.
Up until 2023, then we all got our own accounts. So it says in 23, I started with Spotify. I started with Spotify way before that. But the very first streamed song all time by David Nuño on the 2023 version of his Spotify account was, you guys can all guess the artist, you won't guess the song, and no, Nick, you're going to guess wrong.
Bad Bunny.
No, wasn't Bad Bunny.
Tribe Called Quest.
No, wasn't Tribe Called Quest. Zach Bryan, Something in the Orange.
That's not what I would have guessed.
Yeah, Zach Bryan, Something in the Orange. I love Zach Bryan.
Wow.
And before he, the whole thing came out about him being mean. And
All of that.
The total number of songs, 2,274 against 2023. And the most streamed artist, I'll let Nick answer that one. Who's the most streamed artist?
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, he is.
There you go.
So yeah, there you go.
I kind of gave it an Italian flavor
Yeah,
there. I'm
right. He's from
sorry.
Puerto
I didn't
Rico.
mean to.
Yeah. Is he still around? I think after the Super Bowl, they've chased him out of the world. Anyway, you want to tell us what's popping on TexAgs today? Did you look at your Spotify?
I was going to say, I want you to guess what my first ever listen to was in 2019 on Spotify.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
No.
Kesha.
No.
Katy Perry.
It's probably one that y'all are not going to get.
Okay, who is it?
It's Drake. On
Oh,
Spotify.
Drizzy Drake?
There you go.
All right.
Would you take me as a Drake person or no?
I think everybody your age is a Drake person.
It's
My good friend Aubrey.
These days, it's either Drake or Kendrick, but
Okay.
I'm in between.
Whose side did you take during the whole beef?
During the beef, I took Kendrick's side, but I do still like Drake's music better.
Drake's significantly better career and catalog. I better rapper? Probably Kendrick.
Yeah.
We lost all of our listeners. By the way, George Strait is on my playlist at the moment, so don't get mad at me.
There you go.
Continue on.
Well, I'm going to transition over to TexAgs today because we have some...
It's never a bad time to subscribe to TexAgs.
It's never a bad time. Even in the middle of a music segment about Spotify, it's never a bad time to become a TexAgs premium subscriber because there's so much content coming out on the site today, like... We have a story about Mark Massey's legacy on the site. We also have the full Wilkin Formby interview. We have a story about Nico Partita and Jordan Wilson being named to the USA Baseball Training Camp. And also Obi's article about Quinn. If you haven't read it, read it. It's so good. I read it during the break. It's phenomenal. And as always, we have a breakdown and a spot to register for the TexAgs preseason kickoff 2026. And then later today, we are going to have a baseball press conference, The Huddle with Brayvon Rogers and Tafik Bayard, Kay's pod breakdown for the Bryan-College Station Regional this weekend, and a recruiting long form by Bronny.
Good stuff there. Let's do one or two more text messages and comments before we hit a break for Trisha Ford joining us here at 9:35.
Well, we have had a lot of arguments, I guess, in the comment section.
What are we arguing
today.
about?
Well, 12th Man in Edmond and Sam Sloan are
It's always those two.
It is always those two. But 12th Man in Edmond is arguing about the playoffs. He's saying the playoffs did exactly what it was meant to do, make money and lessen the importance of every single college football game. And then he's saying football is now about being good enough to qualify, but peaking at the right time. We need to learn how to peak late. And then he goes on to say, I don't want the old ways. The old ways sucked. We had zero chance. Only blue bloods could win in the old system. So what are your thoughts on 12th Man in Edmonds?
Okay, I guess we got to take them in parts. And what was Sam saying?
He was kind of just egging him on, like saying, okay, bro, you're so negative, LOL, all of that kind of stuff. Just
good points, Sam. I like those. Those are good points.
Well, I mean, he is quite negative quite often, and then, but that doesn't mean he's wrong.
Right.
Right? All right. Let me see how I can tackle these. Give me in parts. What was the first thing he said?
Okay, so the first thing was, wait, let me find it. Okay, playoffs did exactly what it was meant to do. Make money and lessen the importance of every single college football game.
Okay, so let's kind of go through that for a second. Do we think that the regular season was less important last year?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I also don't think that was the goal of the playoff. That's not the.
I think the goal was to get a playoff system that makes money because it is a business that also satisfies the what do they call it in like superhero movies, like when they do it just for the fans. Fans have been clamoring for more playoffs for a while, and understanding the lessening importance of the bowl system. How do you make more games matter in a world where only the national championship and the semifinals seem to matter for a while? So he's not completely wrong. Look, how about this, Dave? Instead of being and Sam, instead of everybody being a contrarian, can't we just borrow stuff that we like from the old days and stuff that we like from now? I do like the regular season games mattering. I also like the idea of being able to overcome a stupid loss, an early stupid loss. Like, for instance, when my team is I have to do this for a job, right? But when I'm not doing this as a job, as a fan, I used to be the kind of person that, like, I'm doing it for soccer right now. I am out on soccer. I hate soccer right now because my soccer team sucks.
Yeah.
Okay? They're second place. Okay. That's how bad they are. And out of 16 teams. But, like, I'm not watching right now. I'm mad at it. I'm mad at the sport. When I was, call me a 2%er, when I was not covering the Aggies, when they would have a couple of bad games, I would tap out. Like, I can't watch it. It puts me in a bad mood. When the Rockets or the Mavs would lose, I would avoid the NBA Finals. I was mad at the sport. That's how I operate. I like the idea of not being so mad that you're still, well, hey, you're saying there's a chance. Now, I don't like an 8-4 chance to make it to the playoffs, right? What are the other 2 points? We got to hit a break with Trisha.
The second point was college football is now about being good enough to qualify, but peaking at the right time. We need to learn how to peak late.
I asked Coach Elko about peaking, and this was before the playoffs. And he talked about, I liked his methodology, his mindset. It's not about peaking. It's about, playing your brand of football all season long. I forget the exact quote. We could probably get it. But Indiana's a good example. Nothing changed. They were great all season long. They were great, right? So, yeah, would I like to be peaking? I'd like to be consistently good. What was the last point?
Last one was, I don't want the old ways. The old ways sucked. We had zero chance. Only blue bloods could win in the old system.
Well, I don't want to vote on a national championship, if that's what we're talking about. Yeah, that system sucked.
Yeah.
The 14 playoff, life in the SEC made it very difficult, and especially in the SEC West at the time, for A&M to get in. And look, if you have the right coach and the right players, I take my chances. If you don't, then you're just trying to find a way to be relevant. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll talk a little softball. Trisha Ford will be in studio. Kay Nagley will join me for that. Right now, Milliken Reserve. They're a farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. If you love your family, go outdoors with them and go to Milliken Reserve. Yes, that's how love is defined. You go there, you can climb trees, you can fly a kite, you can throw the football, you can go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it. You can do that by getting a Conservancy membership if you don't live at Milliken Reserve. But if you want to live there, how about these neighborhoods? The Creek, homes on 10-plus acre wooded estates. You've got the Hollow in a private and gated community, and the Meadows that are responsive to their natural surroundings. To learn more, go to millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. It's Milliken Reserve.
Welcome back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Softball time. Kay Nagley in studio joining me with Trisha Ford to talk a little bit about the regional starting on Friday.
Yeah.
UConn, Davis Diamond, 1 o'clock. How are you, Trisha?
Great. Excited that we're hosting. I mean, get more games in Davis Diamond. I can't wait for the 12th man to get out there. The bubble's going. And just excited that our season's continuing.
Well, look, this is a pretty tough field coming to town. Just talk about A, having that field at home, and B, like the difficulties of navigating through such good teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, but it should be tough. I mean, we're a 15 seed, so I figured we were going to get, some really good teams. UConn won their conference. They've, got some arms, some kids that can swing, and they have a couple kids, I think 3 kids in double-digit home runs. Played Arkansas pretty tough at the beginning of the year. So, that's going to be our first game. McNeese we've already played them, but again, they just continue to get better. He puts they have a great coach, and he continues to put a good product out there with McNeese. So that'll be big. And then ASU, I'm pretty familiar with the people from the desert. So obviously it's been long enough that I don't have any players. There's no kind of overlap with that, but they just went through and beat Arizona. They beat Tech, Okie State to win a Big 12 championship. So they're on a roll, and for me, I'm just excited that we get to play more softball at Davis Diamond, and we've been through the SEC conference, that whole juggernaut, and we're ready. So let's go play.
What are some of the challenges that come with facing 3 conference champions? They obviously all got hot at the right time, especially in the month of April. So they've been rolling in wins. That's kind of all they know right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's our job, is to prep and do what we do really well. I think if we're able to come out and execute our game plan, we'll be okay. So, and it's going to be tough. You're going to have some things that go your way and don't go your way. It's going to be the team that I think responds well. So we've been working really hard this week. We came back after the conference tournament and practiced for a few days and gave them a couple days, a day to rest, and then back on the field. So it's been nice to have. We haven't had this many days of practice since January. So we're just working on the little things that I think that are going to help us win, especially this regional. Bunting, short game, defense. Obviously in the circle, we got to tidy up some things in there, but just working on those pieces.
How much did the SEC schedule and also your non-conference schedule prepare you, hopefully, for what's ahead for now?
Well, that's the whole goal. I think it absolutely has. I mean, we've played everybody that is anybody, I think, this year. And so, we're not going to go into a game and not feel like we, aren't prepared, capable, all of those things. We know we can compete with anybody in the country. And so I think, having gone through that gauntlet and having some of those bumps and being able to rebound from them, I think is going to be huge for us.
Offensively, what does the preparation look like? I know y'all have different machines and things that y'all can simulate to look like the pitches that you'll see, but in knowing that you could also take on 3 different teams this weekend with a lot of different arms.
Yeah, so what we do is we really practice, we focus hard on our first game, because if you don't win that first game, we're in trouble. So, but then, at this time of year, they know what the adjustments are for a certain pitcher. So if you have a drop ball pitcher or an up ball pitcher, they understand our hitters of kind of what that looks like from a swing path, a decision making. And so, we're going to concentrate on UConn, but obviously we'll face hopefully the winner of that ASU McNeese game. And good thing for us is we faced McNeese. So we've already prepped for them prior in the year. So, we do that every weekend, I feel like, when we face the SEC, everybody has, 4 or 5 arms, some go up, some go down, and it's got to be up, it's up to us to be able to adjust.
Excuse me for being Captain Optimism here, but is there anything good that comes from the Auburn game, like the extra time, the ability to see what you did wrong? Like, are there any takeaways from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, that, and I think also it was a good gut check that I didn't enjoy, and I don't think the girls did, of if we play bad, we're done. And so, I think Auburn was hot. I think anybody that watched the conference tournament could see that they were, playing for their life. And it's just a good reality check. And we've talked about it a lot of just, if we don't show up from here on out, we're done. And this team really wants to continue to play together.
Whenever you brought in 4 transfers this offseason, with the regular season done, how would you kind of just assess how helpful that they have been for your program this year?
Yeah, they've been huge. Talon and Wark have done just a great job for us. Second base, first base, DP spot. They've played at a high level over and over again. And just, they want to win. And I think you have to have players that want to win at this level. Taylor Pinnell's had really good spots. I feel like she's starting to come into her own. She's had some really good bullpens and some live outing. So that's been really good. So I think, there's been a lot of pieces that have done a great job of coming in and really helping us. Paisley Allen.
She's been hot recently.
You almost don't talk about her, right? You just let her kind of be. So it's funny, I tease her because she gets into the box and she's like this little thing. And then all of a sudden, all those gears get, firing. And that one ball she hit in our last home series, I mean, she smoked it. So, she's been fun. Yeah.
Not trying to go conspiracy theory because I really don't necessarily believe it, but do you ever laugh at what committees do? I'm saying in general at A&M, if you coach at another school, they're coming to a regional here. That happens in baseball, it happens other things. Or if there's a chance at some point to play against Texas, you're going to set it up. Do you ever just kind of sit back of course this was happening?
Yeah. As soon as Texas went at number 2, I said, well, if we're hosting, we're 15. Which is fine. At the end of the day, all right, let's get through this regional and, let's get after it. But yes, 100. I think anybody with half of, that lives in here.
We know beforehand. They're joking about it on Twitter beforehand.
Literally. They're the day before, the weeks before, whatever Texas is going to be, A&M will get aligned with it. So.
And Arizona State too. It just works out that way.
It does. Yeah. We had the Nebraska thing for a little while because of Trev. So maybe we'll be done with it after this year.
I hope.
I want to just talk about some of the lessons learned in last year's regional. Obviously, Emily Kennedy was an arm that you relied upon heavily, but I mean, you've even said it, I wish I got some other arms, some more experience during the regular season. Just what were your main takeaways from that?
Yeah, we had a tough weekend in the circle, and Em gave us everything she had. I was actually texting with her yesterday because she's in Japan, and I'm not big on social media, so I'm I need updates, how are things going? So, I just think, we fought hard, but at the end of the day, we ran up against a tough team and we just didn't execute enough. And so I do think, going back to your question, that Auburn loss in the tournament is something that we've, talked about again. I'm the elephant in the room person, we talk about it hey, this happened to us last year. How are you going to respond? Lucky for us, we have a weekend to respond to, how the SEC tournament went.
Yeah. I've said oftentimes, and this is I think most people share this, that legends are made in the postseason.
Yeah.
So how important is it for Maya Kennedy and Wark to not necessarily carry the ship, but to be the players that we know that they are?
Yeah. It's going to be pivotal for us. And I think it's going to be pivotal that Sydney Peters and Sydney Lessentine also step up, and I've talked to them about that. It doesn't need to be bigger, but it means to be locked in, let's go, take no prisoners. I said that very cleanly. There was other words that maybe came out of my mouth, but but it's time to step up, let's get after it. Let's compete our tails off, The good thing is KP all year long, when the lights are on, that kid, she's been a dog. And so I'm excited to see her. We're talking in the Ford household about KP of just, my son's KP's about to have a weekend. So I'm it's a good weekend for her to have a weekend.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking on KP, do you feel like there's just something about, she just has that competitor gene?
She's got the it factor.
Yeah.
It's something you don't teach. She's had it since I think she's had it her whole life. I've watched her really, really young. She played in a highly competitive travel ball organization that really, really stresses the competitiveness, and she thrives in that. And so she's a dog. Yeah.
And for the rest of your seniors, this is your last go round. Do you feel like that group is, hungrier than usual?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole reason why Talon transferred here, Wark transferred here. They wanted to really finish on a high note. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this weekend looks like.
Our ace reporter, Kayla, at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center's got a question for you. Kayla, why don't you jump in?
I do. Well, Trisha, In a press conference this year, you mentioned that last year's team experienced a lot of highs and didn't really feel what it felt like to play with adversity.
Yeah.
So this season, coming from behind and having to battle, how do you think that will help in the tournament this year compared to last year?
Yeah, we've had so many ups and downs, and we've had to respond. And I think this team, they really truly enjoy being around with each other, and they know that the person to the left and right of them are really working hard and know that they're giving everything they have. And so I think how close this team is a little bit different, but I also think we've had to do it all year long, so we've had a lot of reps. And we've responded really well. So I think we're ready. Like, I've been itching to get back on that field this week. It's been a little too long for me. Yeah.
We're rooting for you, Trisha. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. All right, that's Trisha Ford here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short final segment of the 9 o'clock hour. Kay will stick around for that. That and more TexAgs. As you all know, typically Pat Henry joins me here on Wednesdays, and that is brought to you by our good friends at the Brazos Running Company and MasonHay.com. From running shoes to Aggie pajamas, this Aggie family's got you covered. Visit Brazos Running Company at Century Square. Shop Mason Hay at MasonHay.com. Kay Nagley.
David Nuño.
So this is a different situation for the A&M softball team, right?
Mhm.
Like they are a team that I think can compete for a national championship. They have a very hard road. I think they have some calluses based on what happened last year, those leftovers, and also some of the ups and downs that they've had to face this year.
Yeah.
Just take that.
For sure. I looking back on last year, everyone talks about it, right? Like number 1 overall seed, did all these spectacular things, had an incredible regular season. I just think they peaked too early. Like they weren't playing their best softball when it came down to it. And the thing that I really like about this team is haven't necessarily seen that. I mean, you had a stretch of April where you got really hot, but they've also faced some adversity in the last few weeks. And every time I talk to a player in here, they're always like, we're just getting better and better and better. So I think that can kind of be the tipping point of like, okay, we know it's do or die. We've gotten better every single week. Like there's no better opportunity than now to go and take this. So
Yeah. How much do you take away from the Auburn game?
Honestly, not too much. They've had their share of slip-ups pretty like early in the season in February. They hit some bumps in the road, and they were not just casual light bumps. So I feel like with Ford's teams, they almost respond better to situations like that than if they were to just blow a team out. There was the UCLA loss in February. They faced Nebraska. Like they've seen some really good arms, and a team like Auburn that was so desperate to get into the NCAA tournament, it turned desperation into determination, where they just wanted to absolutely do anything they could get to get in the tournament. And there's no secret the arms haven't been as great as they have been recently, and that that played a large part in that game. But yeah, I don't really, I'm like, their last outing wasn't incredible. They're still going to go be the same team that they've been all year.
In the last 40 seconds, what can you tell me about this UConn team that they get Friday afternoon?
Yeah, UConn, well, for all of them, all conference champs. And the one thing about all of these teams is they are all hot. They have all won their last, couple games to win the conference championship. And then even before that, they are all peaking in the right time, which is, it looks for a very scary regional. Arizona State is also spectacular behind their ace, Kenzie Brown. She was an All-American last year.
They're probably saving her for the second game.
Yeah,
right?
So, winners bracket, you get Texas A&M ASU in there. There should be some fireworks.
Yeah. Great stuff, Kate. Thank you very much.
Of course.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Boomer White talking a little Aggie baseball next on TexAgs Live, followed by Mark Weaver, followed by Kendall Rogers. I did an announcer man voice. We'll be back.
Keeping it on the diamond, we turn our attention to Aggie Baseball's TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined by our buddy Boomer White here on the program to talk all things A&M baseball. Boomer, good morning, my friend.
How's it going today?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
All good. All good, man. I'm excited for the weekend. Actually, it's not a weekend. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but excited for some baseball.
We are too. So let's, I guess, start things off with where are you on where this team is trending? Lost 2 straight series, but you could see a hit or two here or a mistake here change the complexity of both of those series. Where are you on the direction A&M baseball is going?
Man, I still feel like I'm on the train that we were jumping aboard back against Vanderbilt in Texas. To be honest, I think that offensively, that's going to make or break this team for the most part. They're going to have to hit their way to a lot of victories. I still believe that to be the case. I do think you're going to learn about a lot of team when they don't have quite the offensive success that seemed to be getting national attention a few weeks prior to the last couple series. So how do they bounce back? Can they, get hot again and continue to be the juggernaut that I feel like the country was recognizing them as? So I still think they can. I'm excited about, Royo's performance. There's some injuries. So there are some things that are going to kind of alter the path that this team was on a couple weeks ago. But I still think, there's Omaha potential undoubtedly up and down this roster. It's just going to matter if they play right when it matters most.
What do you think was the issue, or what mistakes were the Aggie baseball hitters doing this past weekend when they struck out so many times? Sometimes strikeouts equate success, right? Because you're swinging at the right pitches and you just don't connect and you hit a bunch of home runs. But that wasn't the case in 2 of those games.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. And to me, it's as simple as, and it especially was this past weekend. I was watching pretty closely. It's that they would get one pitch. Look, some of those arms are outstanding in Oxford, but they would get one pitch in at bat that would be the one you got to be on time for and hit, and they just weren't doing it. And so they were quickly fouling balls off or getting in pitchers counts, getting in 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts. And then it's an uphill battle from there. So I think when this offense is going really well, the mistake that you make, they make you pay for it right away. And when you don't, then you get in some trouble. And so I think that it was a combination of great arms with Ole Miss, but also just, hey, you got your 0-0 fastball or your 2-0 fastball, or they hung an off-speed pitch and a pitcher's count, and you didn't make them pay. I especially saw that when we tried to come back, I think from Bear. There were a couple mistakes made when in pitcher's counts, and he could have made them pay, and he just fouled them off. And I think when you're going right, you don't foul them off. And so I think that's all it was this past weekend.
Talking to Boomer White here on TexAgs Live. Boomer, let's talk Shane Sadeo. Kind of looked like a different pitcher, right? Coming out of the pen. And what did you think about that and that model for success here in the future?
Well, I kind of equate that to, when it's like as a hitter, when you're struggling and you get moved to a different spot in the lineup. It's just kind of like a breath of fresh air. And a lot of times you can't explain why. It just is. Different scenario, different routine. And as a hitter, you see different pitches. Maybe different people are on base. As a pitcher, when you come out of the bullpen, like different mentality than when you're starting. And so I think from a standpoint of Sadeo having come out of the bullpen in the past, I think that maybe he could tap into what his recipe for success was then. And so I think that he has the juice in the arm to come out of the bullpen and throw mid-90s if he's got to go just a couple of innings. So I certainly like the effort to put him there and see how he flourishes and if he does, because he's got too much talent in that arm to be a Friday guy and leave balls over the plate, not regularly get this team to the 5th or 6th inning. So find a place where he can flourish. And if that's the bullpen and Darden's going to start, then I'm okay with it. I really am. You're trying to find that next arm, find that guy out of the bullpen or on the staff that's going to step up in the late postseason. You got to try and play around and tinker with some things. That's okay.
Yeah, and a follow up to that, I almost feel like both things can be related, right? Like
How much of it is it his physical ability coming back from Tommy John, and how much of it is mental? And I think because of the physical, the mental ends up happening.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you get in a spot like there's a story I like to tell. One of my teammates was told on a mound visit one time in a big situation, hey, if you're going to throw the slider, don't hang the slider. And he just in his head the whole time it was don't hang it, don't hang it, don't hang it. And he throws the pitch, and of course he hangs it. And so that has nothing to do with his talent, in my opinion. That's a mental lapse. That's him not in the right headspace to execute the pitch. And I think that with Sadeo, it's like certainly the physical can be followed by some mental issues. And if you're just in a spot where you keep leaving balls over the plate, or you can't pitch with conviction to the corners or down in the dirt when you need to, then you're just going to continue to leave balls over the plate. It doesn't matter how good your stuff is. And I just think that could be something that he's going through.
Hey, what do you think the future is for Clayton Freshcorn? I mean, we just saw this past weekend. Unfortunately, he doesn't get a win. But, I mean, he comes in and pitches 5 innings. Like, that's something he hadn't done before for A&M. It looks fantastic in the process. And it makes you wonder, like, what other ways can they tinker with him? I mean, do you see maybe next year, maybe them trying him as a starter? He's so good as a closer. Like, just play with that idea of where Clayton Freshcorn can go.
I think in a perfect world, he is in his role right now. I think in a perfect world, Clayton Freshcorn is your jack of all trades. I had a guy like that I played with at TCU. Aschenbeck was very similar a couple years ago. You want him to be able to give you a start in a regional. You want him to be able to close out a Tuesday game. You want him to be able to go an inning every game over a weekend. And you want him to be able to go, come in, be called upon in the 4th inning, and take it all the way to close the game out. And I think he can do all of those. I think if you pigeonhole him as a starter, I don't know if he has the stuff to go 7 innings regularly. I just think his style of pitching is more like, I'm coming in and you tell me what to do and I'll figure it out, and I'm going to help the team any way possible. And you want him for multiple games a week. And so in my opinion, like, he's used perfectly right now, and we could probably lean on him more. That arm can go forever. And I think you're going to see that, especially as we go into postseason. But I would caution, unless you really, really have to. I don't like him right now as a weekend starter. Not that he can't. I think he'd just be more valuable elsewhere.
Nick does remind me that he is draft eligible, so any tinkering that they do would probably be at the end of the season throughout a regional and beyond. But with Gavin Lyons pitching as well as Gavin has pitched, it does give you a little bit more flexibility than maybe a month ago we didn't really know that they had, considering how thin they were.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been looking for all season, right? Is like, you kind of knew you had Freshcorn in the bag as kind of your guy, but who's going to step up and give you similar results as far as like how many times a weekend they can pitch and for how long. And I think you're looking for 2 guys really out of a bullpen that can give you multiple innings in multiple games. And I think if Lyons can continue to step up and be just a shadow of what Freshcorn is right now, and get outs, not miss up, be the guy who's getting those soft ground balls with that sinker, like then there you go. I think you can go win a regional and you can go win a super with 2 good starters and 2 good bullpen guys. And ideally, Lyons continues to improve, and those are your 2 horses there in big moments.
Talking to Boomer White here on TexAgs Live. Boomer, let's talk Ben Royo. I mean, typically he would probably be my lead, but he comes in and has a monster couple of games, I should say, 7 for 7, 3 home runs on Saturday as the DH. Just what does that say about Ben? Because he's had some moments like this, maybe not that extreme, but he's had some pretty good moments for A&M. And the fact that you have a guy like that can come off the bench and already produce one of the better games we've seen this year.
I mean, it speaks mountains about the kid. I love it. I'd be so jacked up if I'm on that coaching staff and in that dugout. It for some reason, it doesn't surprise me. I haven't watched him. I didn't watch him in the fall. I haven't seen hardly any of his at-bats this year. But watching him last year, like that doesn't surprise me what he just did. I've loved the kid's approach at the plate. I like what he tries to do with the baseball. But, mentally, I think that speaks volumes about where he is in in his headspace and when he's ready to be called upon, when his number's called. I think that all of those things are exactly what you're looking for out of a teammate. But mechanically, I think that, look, Royo I don't know, he had a lot of home runs last year. I'm very, very surprised he hasn't had a bigger role this year. He moves well. He's got a great glove. He tries to hit the ball to the middle of the field. So he can go yard everywhere, and that leaves him room to get those singles to the pull side, if he's out in front like he did. But all of his home runs are left center to center field. So he uses the field the right way. He's got power. He has a lot of moxie. I really want to see him kind of get hot and add to this lineup, and I think he can.
Talking to Boomer White here on TexAgs Live. Boston Kellner took that fastball to the face. I mean, this team is beat up, Boomer, and they need him healthy, right? Like Michael Early said on the show, he wouldn't be surprised if we saw Boston play. But that being said, A, talk about that. I mean, have you ever been hit in the face with a fastball? And B, about getting healthy?
No, man, I've not. I wish I stayed in there better. I may have gotten hit, and I wouldn't have liked that. But no, I did not stay in there as well as I should have as a hitter, and so I can't imagine what that's like. So I cannot relate. Unfortunately, I got hit in the head, but never took it to the face. But I think that from a standpoint of getting healthy, I think that this team has proven that they can really play with anyone in the country on any given day. And so you don't really have to, I think the most important thing is going into the postseason hot. If it's a regional and you don't get the super, you got to be healthy and hot. Even if for some reason you didn't go get a regional, which I think is very unlikely to happen, like you just got to be healthy because they can go really beat anyone in the country. And so for Boston to just, along with everyone else who's all nicked up, I think, the priority number one is just getting that right, feeling confident, standing in the box again, being able to stare down a fastball. Hopefully, that's not going to be an issue for him. But this team's very deep, in my opinion. So it's great to watch the talent that's rolled out there when your number ones aren't available. And I still have a lot of confidence that if they play good baseball, that they can really beat anybody.
What do you think the balance is for forcing a guy this week? And when I say force, it's probably not the right way to phrase it, but if a guy is almost ready to go, considering they need this series to hopefully clinch an opportunity to be a top 8 national seed, but understanding you're playing for a bigger purpose, right? You don't want to rush somebody. What's kind of the balance? And maybe in your history of teammates that maybe rushed it too quick or maybe they waited too long on somebody?
I kind of go back to what I just said. I think you certainly lean more conservative here than put them out there, because I think that you could have some detrimental effects that it probably aren't worth. It's hard to a national seed is extremely valuable. Let me get that out there. But at the same time, so is a freshman who's your starting shortstop and just got hit in the face. And there's a lot that goes into that. So I think that because of the depth on this team and because you have people that can really step up and give you a really good chance to win, that I think if there's any doubt that he's physically or mentally not ready to step out on the field, you pump the brakes, give it another game or two, get him more live at bats in practice or stand-ins. You want to keep him fresh in a sense, but you also don't want to put him out there when he's not ready, because you could have more effects than just something happening now, but maybe even long-term, which in my opinion is not worth it.
Boomer, speaking of young players, both Nico and Wilson invited to USA Baseball's training camp. Just how cool of an accolade is that for young men like that who have played at a very high level this season?
Extremely cool. One thing I always wished I had the opportunity. I was never, ever good enough to play with the talent that were on those teams. And Nico and Jorian have so much more talent than I ever had. And I think it's very well deserved. I think that it's a lifetime of memories and kind of a badge that you get to carry around and wear. You put on the USA uniform, you went and traveled and played international baseball and got to play with all of these guys who are almost, 80% of them will be big leaguers. So there's certainly a jealousy on my part that I was never able to do anything like that. And you look at the guys who get it, and it's nothing but the coolest experience. So those freshmen, hopefully they they tear it up, they make the team and get to play a lot, and they get to do it again maybe next year. So I think it's well deserved. Those guys are extremely talented and good baseball players.
Boomer, let's close out with this series with Mississippi State. Obviously, this program in years past has had similar storylines where they've kind of lost a couple series right before the end of the regular season and turned it on when they had to. We saw it in 24. I believe we saw it in 22. So just talk about this particular weekend and what we need to see.
Yeah, this weekend is in my opinion, a little maybe even more important than the SEC tournament, as far as like this is going to be the last home series until the postseason. It's the last regular 3-game standard series. Like you're going to take a lot of this into the regionals, and so for me, it's go win a series, try and go sweep if you can, secure a national seed, but you want to leave this series feeling like you're playing or soon to play your best baseball. I don't think there's a ton of momentum unless you win the SEC tournament that you take or lose from that tournament. It's a lot of fun and you want to go play great. But I think you're going to revert back to, how are we playing up until the SEC tournament? And that's the team that you're going to be bringing into the regionals. So I want to see a clean, fundamentally clean and well-executed baseball team hitting and pitching this weekend, win a series, and then I think all will be well.
Boomer, we have some breaking news that happened just a few minutes ago. Michael Early, according to Richard Zane's Twitter account, told the media this morning that Aiden Sims will not pitch this weekend versus Mississippi State. He has some tightness. He needs some rest. We need to make sure he's ready to go for the long haul. And it looks like Ethan Darden will start on Thursday. Friday is a TBA. Saturday is a TBA.
Whoa, man, that's not super exciting to hear. You just hope it genuinely is tightness and rest will cure that over the next week or two. But man, that's a bummer. And I think that you're going to everyone who's watching Aggie baseball and knows some of this pitching staff, you're going to find out really quickly how deep they are and how pitcher by committee works, because you're going to have to use some arms that we haven't seen a lot this year. And the bats are probably going to have to do a little more heavy lifting than they have been. But I think that creates a bigger opportunity for them to go win a series when they didn't have their best. So what better way to go into a regional saying that you just did that and then you're getting everyone healthy. So maybe that's kind of the best case scenario.
Well, and I was going to follow that up with this. Like, I wonder if that changes the approach with Sadeo. You would think with Darden starting Thursday, maybe it doesn't. But maybe do you see if you need him Thursday and use him on Friday and Moss on Saturday? I'm just trying to think of things that they could do.
I think that's exactly what you do. That's a great point, David. Yeah, I think if you get Darden get Darden halfway, get him 4 or 5 innings and see where the game's at. If you got to bring Sadeo in to try and, give you another 3 or 4 great to go get the win, you certainly do it. Yeah. But I think that at the same time, if you're in a rough situation or you want to make sure that you get a starter who could potentially take you 5 or 6, you don't want to use his bullets for 2 or 3 innings unless those are well-used bullets. But I think that both of those guys are going to be on standby out of the pen. Depending how things go, you can bump them to the next day and get you a start. But there's going to be a lot of strategy talking between JK and Coach Mike right now with how they're going to use that bullpen.
Boomer, I appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David.
See you, bud. Boomer White there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right. A couple things from that. That's, I'm not surprised by it. I'd say mildly surprised is maybe the best way to phrase it. I hate that, though. They got to go win a series without their best pitcher this weekend. Another thing, Nick, before we hit a break, I know we're going to call Mark Weaver. I'm spitballing an idea for the show, maybe tomorrow with Bronny as he does the Go Hour with me, or maybe Friday. Do you think, so like this expanded playoff thing that's happening, right? And I'm just kind of formulating it like an act, like a comedian takes his act on the road. With this potential 16/24 team playoff, if they go to 24 teams, does not making the playoffs become fireable? And what I mean is, like, at 12, you got to make the playoffs, right? Like it's kind of but when you expand it that much, like those teams that are knocking on the door of being good, like how much are you willing to wait for a coach to get you there? If there's 24 teams, it's one thing when it was 4, another thing when it's 12. But if you double that, I'm wondering, like, how much
leeway.
Leeway, thank you for the word. Do coaches have if they don't make the playoffs? Because I already think the leeway is smaller than before. But I think if you go all the way to 24, I think that job security really becomes a problem.
No, I agree. And I think of like college basketball now. Like I think expectations for every school in the country with 76 teams. And I know some of those newer bids are going to go to, group of, or I guess mid-majors is what they call them in college basketball. But I mean, they're still at-large bids that can get into those play-in games. So I feel like the expectations are to make the tournament every year in college basketball now. If they go to 24 in college football, definitely, like especially the big-time programs. I'm with you there.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with Mark Weaver on the other side. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
And we are back here on TexAgs Live. Texas A&M women's tennis is in Athens. 5 straight Elite 8 appearances. No signs of slowing down. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our guest is Mark Weaver here on the program. And Coach Weaver, I got to apologize. We are late for your segment. We had some breaking news at the end of the last segment. Kind of delayed us. I know that you're working hard there in Athens. Thanks for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We just finished up a good practice here in Athens, Georgia, and the Aggies are looking pretty good here.
Good to hear. And I got to give you props, man. You're such a nice person. I'm texting you yesterday, and you're in the middle of practice. We had a Who's On First moment in our text messages, but like you're in the middle of it, and you got back to me, and you said you guys are looking good. So how much pride do you take in these 5 straight Elite 8 appearances and the program that you have built?
Yeah, no, definitely proud of that. And, yeah, I can kind of remember my early years getting in this business and thinking something like that was a pretty long ways away. And it's kind of nice now that we're here in the thick of things and kind of made that our standard here. So it's, it's a different feeling when you go off to the final side. And, yeah, that's kind of been our routine here for quite some time now. So, yeah, definitely proud of all the hard work of the girls and my staff, and it's definitely not a one-man job, that's for sure. And I just appreciate all the hard work from our administration to our fans to all my everybody who's putting in the work, that's for sure.
So you get North Carolina next. I know when the brackets came out, we looked at them, at least we did at TexAgs, like, ooh, that's a tough team if A&M is able to move on. Talk to me a little bit about this program that I know has got your attention.
Yeah, they're a very talented team. We've recruited the majority of their players, and, unfortunately, a lot of them went to play for UNC. So I kind of always enjoy these types of matches. They're a very talented team, and, yeah, they've been right up there at the top for quite some time, kind of like we have been. So, their top player is Reese Brantmeyer. So you basically have we have the best player in college tennis, and they have the second best player in college tennis. So, that matchup in itself will be a great one for the viewers out there. And, UNC traditionally plays great doubles. That's definitely something that we've been struggling in the last few matches. We just actually finished a doubles practice here we actually practiced indoors here in Georgia. The weather's beautiful, but they had a scheduled indoors here this morning, and we made it a doubles practice, and we're looking good. And they're loaded from top to bottom, just like we are. And it'll be a match at a very, very high level. Probably a lot of 50-50 matchups out there in the singles, especially. And it's going to be who's ready to go. It'll be a night match tomorrow night, which is kind of Friday night. It'll be a night match Friday night, and even if we're fortunate enough to advance on, we have like all night matches, which kind of adds a new component to it as well. I always loved night matches when I played, so much energy, and especially for a college match. So we're looking forward to that. We have a night practice tonight under the lights, and the Aggies will be ready to go.
I want to follow that up because I'm just curious, when you're used to not having night matches, and you may look forward to it, but like, how does that change the routine? And does your team have a routine that they like to follow? You just kind of adapt, I guess, a change in the hours of when you do things?
Yeah, we're definitely all about routine. We're not a big fan of getting thrown off of our routine. But the good news is we had a very long travel day yesterday, and we had a night practice last night. We're going to have a night practice tonight. I noticed UNC's not practicing tonight, so we're going to look at that as an advantage there, and then we'll have another night practice tomorrow night, just to kind of even the timing of the sleeping and the eating. So we're going to basically have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to kind of replicate what Friday is going to be. And, it brings into a lot of different things. First of all, playing under the lights is always a change. And, even just the sitting around the anxiety of, both teams will be feeling it, just waiting around. And there's also 3 other matches on before us. And, we could potentially start a match at 10 o'clock Friday night. So it's just, it'll definitely have a different feel to it, a lot of excitement, and there'll be a lot of sitting around on Friday, and hopefully we can kind of get started close to match time. But it's just one of those things you got to constantly be ready, and sport like ours, it's kind of always that way, whether it's weather related or tournament related. Some of these matches last 2 hours and some last 4 hours, so you never know. You got to always be ready.
Talking to Mark Weaver here on TexAgs Live. Coach Weaver, last thing for you. What's the message to the team this week? Obviously, a huge opponent in North Carolina, but the way you've been playing, the way Louisiana's been playing, and Violeta, you've got a squad built for these moments.
Yeah, we're a team. We really enjoy these matches. This is why we do it. We embrace these big matches. It gets old, perhaps, playing some teams where you're not being challenged. That will not be the case Friday night. I can assure you that. And our girls love it. They embrace these moments. Doesn't guarantee us a win by any means, but these type of matches gets everybody's attention, just a little more focused, a little more energetic, and we love rising to the occasion to these challenges, and it makes it fun. You're going to a battle here, the best playing, and we really meet the challenge head on, and just embracing the opportunities. So it'll be a fun, exciting match, and we'll come out sharp and ready to go.
Coach Weaver, good luck. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, sir.
Thanks, David. Thanks for talking.
Of course. That is the great Mark Weaver on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back, talk to Kendall Rogers, close out with some baseball. Obviously, we've got some breaking news that came out here a few minutes ago. Aiden Sims will not pitch this weekend. We'll start that off when we talk to Kendall Rogers. Right now, we're talking ground shuttle. They offer frequent and reliable, I put an underline under that, shuttles from Bryan-College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport when you're traveling. I know when we go to SEC Media Days or we go travel for a road game and we got to go to Bush, it's not fun, right? The commute to there, it's not a bad drive, right? But once you get into Houston, the traffic, especially off the Beltway, trying to get to Bush is horrendous. When you're there, you're like, oh, no parking, got to park here, go there, you got to take a shuttle. You got to take a shuttle anyway, right? So why not take ground shuttle, and they'll take you, right, door to door. It's fantastic. 9 shuttle times on the weekdays, every hour and a half, 5 shuttle times on the weekends, every 2.5 hours. And they also have charter service that can take you anywhere in Texas, door to door service there as well. They're local. They're awesome. Camilo runs the show there, and he does great work. Check out the website, groundshuttle.com. That is called groundshuttle.com, or call them up, 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving. We had some breaking news, obviously, at the top of the hour. Aiden Sims not going to pitch this weekend. How does that change things for Texas A&M needing to win this series against Mississippi State? We go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball, to break it all down. Kendall, good morning, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, I didn't like the news we got. I'm not surprised by it. I wasn't expecting it by any stretch, but I wasn't surprised by it. How does this kind of... There's a lot of dominoes that are going to be affected by this decision not to go with Aiden Sims this weekend as he rests to get a little bit more healthy.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those situations to where, you give guys opportunities to kind of step up, and kind of take the torch a little bit. Obviously, I think it was in the blowout game last weekend when they took Sims out pretty early in the game. And I remember thinking, it's interesting that they took him out in the situation because they had a big lead, but, you kind of want him to go as long as he possibly can. And so, obviously, that may have been an indication there may be a little tightness there last weekend. So, I do think it's smart to sit him out. But I tell you what, in a series that you pretty much have to win to be a top 8, or if you don't win the series, you're going to have to go on a run in Hoover and win some games. It is noteworthy that he's out. And so what does that do? That means, if you're Ethan Darden, you have to give them a good start. If you're Weston Moss, you have to give them a good start. And so, it just kind of makes it where someone unexpected out of the bullpen is going to have to step up and give this team, 2, 3, 4 innings out of the bullpen. If not, it will be a tough series to win.
Well, I was kind of talking with Boomer White earlier, and I just thought to myself, maybe that changes the way they look at Shane, right? So they were so successful last week with Shane coming out of the pen. He looks good, right? But maybe because of this, you see what Ethan gives you, and you do that Weston Moss approach with Shane, right, where you kind of move things back. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but what do you think? Does it affect Shane Sadeo at all? Do they keep him at Friday regardless, or maybe, hey, we got to get you to get a start for us now because we're so much thinner?
Yeah, I think if you're in a position, if Darden gives you, let's say, 3 or 4, and you're in a position to where you have a lead on Thursday's game or in Thursday's game, I think you have to go to Sadeo at that point. You've got to try to get that win in that first game if you can. Then what that really does is allow you to, in that second game, assuming it's Moss, what that kind of allows you to do is let him start, and you just go all in to win that game. You don't, in all honesty, you don't even care about the last game of the series. You go all in to win that second game if you can win that first one with Sadeo out of the bullpen. So I think the entire weekend, frankly, just hinges on what can Ethan Darden give you. Because I think what you can't afford to do is have him go an inning and you have to throw Sadeo, 5 or 6 innings out of the bullpen in the Friday game. That's just going to be difficult.
I'm looking at what A&M is going through right now, and I'm like, I know that one game was a horrible game, right? I do know that, but considering you got pitchers that are hurt, you got a thin rotation, or a thin pitching staff, you've got some people that are banged up that you were counting on, your lineup has changed, people are shifting positions, they are kind of right there, but they're not there. Nuño is.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You kind of think back to last weekend at Ole Miss. How did that weekend go if Ben Arroyo is not just outrageous? I think offensively, I think they'll be fine because even with Nico out this weekend, you can shift Arroyo over to second base. You can keep Jacoby in a DH. If Arroyo's going to hit, I'm not saying he's going to go 7 for 7, but if he could hit, half of that this weekend, that's a win over a guy like Chestnut at that position. So I think offensively they'll be fine. And it sounds like, Partita is trending towards coming back. Not this weekend, but here soon. So I feel pretty good there. But the biggest storyline for me is, anytime I see the words tightness and arms and anything like that, it's like, boy, is this one weekend? Is this 2 weekends? That is what I've got my eye on, because ultimately that will determine whether or not I think A&M is an Omaha team and, frankly, a national title contender.
So you don't think we'll see Nico this weekend?
I don't think so. I haven't heard any indication. It sounds like he is kind of jogging and things like that. But, if you're just now jogging, I don't think you're playing in a game this weekend.
All right, so let's play out some scenarios. They win the series. You think they'll be a top 8 seed. They lose the series. They got to win, couple in Hoover? Is that kind of the thinking?
That's my thinking, and also get some help. I mean, I think if you lose a series, you lost 3 straight series in the regular season. You've got guys banged up. I think you're going to need some help. You're going to need Florida State to lose a series to Miami this weekend. You're going to need, the issue you would run into now would be Mississippi State has a head-to-head over you. So you would need Mississippi State and Hoover not to go on a run there. You need them to lose immediately in Hoover. So I think a series win, it puts you in a pretty good spot. A series loss, you're going to need some different variables to kind of go your way.
What about some teams that we're not thinking about that could sneak in? Who's somebody that you think could make some noise here over the next week or two that might have an opportunity to get in?
Yeah, I think, West Virginia is top of mind. I mean, they go on the road last weekend and swept, Kansas. We had them as a number 13 seed. If they, take care of business this weekend against TCU, they go on the run in the Big 12 tournament. They could be one of those teams that sneaks in there and takes a spot from somebody who wavers a little bit. Florida is certainly still a team I've got my eye on. You never really know what to expect from Florida, but I mean, if they win a series this weekend and again go on a run in Hoover, they could be one of those teams. And of course, Southern Miss I've got my eye on. They should roll Georgia Southern this weekend. He's not very good. Their metrics continue to be really, really impressive. Their RPI continues to be really impressive. And, they've got a shot to win that league this weekend because Coastal's at Louisiana. So if they win that league, those metrics are where they are right now, they're going to have a pretty decent shot.
Where do you see Alabama getting seeded, depending on what happens this weekend in Hoover?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of writing about it right now, but I mean, there's a lot of things that could change this weekend. I mean, Alabama, if you lose that series to Ole Miss at home, I think they're back out of the top 8. I think right now it's very metric and RPI induced. Whereas if they lose that series, I think you drop behind. Assuming A&M wins that series, you obviously drop behind A&M. You would be in a situation to where a Florida State with a Miami series win could go ahead of you. And so, yeah, Alabama for me is, kind of like A&M is in a very kind of iffy situation. Like you need to take care of your business. If not, you're going to need some help in the conference tournament.
All right, so what are the keys this weekend for A&M to get a series win against Mississippi State, considering you're thin in multiple areas?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is you got to get off to a really good hot start offensively. And, we've seen that before at Bluebell, certainly plenty of times. It looks like the wind's going to be blowing out. And so you just getting off to a really good start offensively, get guys like Darden or whoever you start the other games comfortable and just kind of ride it. I mean, I do feel like this offense is still pretty good. And I know they had that stinker against, Taylor Rabe over the weekend where they struck out 14 in 6 innings. But they're one of those offenses that if they can get a lead, they're just really hard to come back on just because they're going to score more runs. So I think just offensively, you got to set the tone in this one starting tomorrow night.
That is our friend Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball. Kendall, we appreciate it, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, brother. Be good.
You too. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll just close out the show. Some thoughts for tomorrow's program. Bronny's going to be in here for the Go Hour. And, in case you missed it. How long are we going to go on? Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get them on something because they always get me on things. I'll see if I can get them on something. We'll do that on the other side. Right now, I want to tell you something important. That's Heritage Films. And the reason I think it's important is it's an opportunity for you to share your family story with the future generations. My buddy Chance McClain isn't just making documentaries. He's preserving family stories that would otherwise be lost. Imagine capturing your dad's journey, your grandfather's struggles, your family's entire legacy in a professional cinematic documentary. And these aren't just random videos. These are HBO, Netflix style of documentaries. Chance travels the nation and he travels the world. Been to Africa. He's done these stories and he meticulously crafts these awesome stories that your kids, your grandkids, and the future generations will treasure. Call Chance up at 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, or visit yourheritagefilm.com. It is yourheritagefilm.com, Heritage Films. TexAgs Live. In case you missed it, Sid and Kaylee in studio. Hello, friends.
Hello.
So let me just ask a question. Did you miss the UFO files that came out on Friday?
I was in the social center Friday, so I knew that they came out because I was there.
But did you read any of the
If I
files?
wasn't, I probably would have known. I did not read
I had
them.
no idea.
So this hasn't come out yet, but there's some people that believe when the next files come out that we're going to find out, you probably don't know this, that the aliens are actually time travelers. They're actually humans from 300,000 years in the future coming to tell us, be careful, the world's going to blow up if you don't do this.
Fake news.
You don't believe it?
I feel like you...
You believe in a little green goblin that comes and says, hello, let me help you, America. More than a time traveler?
I feel like you, David, believe all of this.
I don't believe, but I just want to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last week you wanted to know, too.
I still want to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I want real files. Those files sucked last week.
Yeah, they did. They were bad. And I was asking chat to like summarize them, and it was giving me nothing.
But ChatGPT is the most unreliable narrator there is.
That is
it has news from 1986.
Yeah.
So,
Did y'all hear that AI is actually getting dumber? Like
Is it?
ChatGPT is getting dumber.
No.
Yes.
No.
Where'd you get this information from?
On Twitter. So
Oh, okay.
maybe AI wrote it itself. I don't know.
Okay, I need it to last one more year so I can finish school.
Come on, stop.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you're not. In case I missed what?
Okay. Now we can actually get into our, in case you missed it.
Yep.
So obviously Ole Miss has been dragged through the mud this week. You probably already heard, but in case you didn't, Lane Kiffin was saying some comments about Ole Miss. He said some recruits would tell him that they were not interested in coming to Ole Miss, but then his recruits were saying that their parents wanted them to go to LSU because of the diversity. So I encourage you to look on Twitter because there's some really funny pictures of Lane Kiffin promoting diversity. I'll say that. It's really funny. But then Pete Golding fired back and said, yeah, Lane loves attention. If you look at his Twitter analytics and put them in ball terms, Ole Miss would have a natty by now.
Ooh. So here's my thoughts. I like the responder, not the proactive, criticism guy. And I don't like that. This is Lane's thing, right? I don't think it's classy to do what he did. Now, if you want to have a private conversation with people, but to say it out to, was it Esquire magazine, whoever you said it to, I don't think that was a classy way to go. And I've been to Oxford. It seemed like a normal city to me. I don't know. I'll pay attention next time.
Well, then Sark came back.
Yes, even Sark getting involved.
And he was basically trashing Ole Miss academics. And he said all you have to do is take basket weaving in order to get an Ole Miss degree.
And then sometimes I think you just need to sit things out. Like, let's think about this. College athletes are I don't know if they're all going to class in general.
No,
I'm just saying.
probably not.
Sometimes they do, right? Sometimes they're taking basket weaving on Zoom that they don't go to.
Yeah.
So, and that's at all schools but A&M. Right?
So moving on to our next topic.
Just saying.
Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy, who was the SEC's leading rusher, got shot in the leg at a concert in Mississippi. He did have surgery, but he did return to campus yesterday and with the hopes of playing this season.
Yeah, even Drink said, I forget the exact quote, but basically he wouldn't be surprised if he returns this season.
Well, the craziest thing is that the 3 guys who shot him were his high school teammates.
Wait. 3 guys shot him? Was it on purpose, do we know? Or was it in the crossfire? Hey, let me get everybody!
I don't know, but I would have to assume if they were his high school teammates that they had something out
You
for
laughing
him.
at my comments?
It was probably on purpose because jealousy. That's what I think.
I'm not laughing about shootings, by the way, but I'm just saying.
Oh, I hope
It was
not.
just the way that you did it like that.
I'm going to get canceled. Do we still cancel people, Nick? I don't go to those meetings. He's not going to talk.
And one more thing.
Okay, tell me more.
If you didn't know, this actually happened to a Texas A&M football player as well a couple years ago. DJ Hicks was shot in his left thigh at a party in Dallas when he was in high school. But obviously he has recovered since and got back to playing football, and he's done great things at A&M since.
You should research Plaxico Burress. That's a real name.
What?
Plaxico Burress. He shot himself at a club. Himself. Yeah. NFL legend,
what?
kind of. Just, I don't know, touching guns and... We'll see you next time.